Snipers here. Okay. So I've shown you guys how to do permissions with the per command, but now what if this can't speak. Okay, but for this freeze command, say you want it so by default anyone can use the freeze command on themselves, but in order to use it on another player, you need to have a certain permission. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the freeze command, and we've already got the player defined, so we're going to go, actually, I'm just going to change this to 0, and then add an else. No, I won't need that one, but I will need that. Okay. And then I can just remove that one. Okay, so what this is now doing is it's checking if the argument length equals 0, and if it's anything else, it's going to go to this one. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Not too sure where I was, but yeah. Okay, so for the arg length equaling 1, now first we're just going to check if the player actually has permission to use the command. So let's go. Yes. Don't know why I went to put that. Okay. So if player dot has permission. Okay, and in here you can pretty much use anything. So just for this, I'm going to use test.freeze. So if the player has test.freeze, it's going to continue. Else, actually because it's just going to be the one line, we don't really need the brackets. But we can go else, player.send message, color.red, invalid permissions. I can just do that. Okay. So you might have noticed I'm able to do this without having the little brackets around it. The only reason I can do this is because it's just one line. So if I were to add another line here, it would go off of this it would go off of this one. So it wouldn't check if the player had permission or anything. It would just pretty much do anything after. So I can also just go like this and then do a tab. I find that that is a lot easier for me to read when I'm going through looking at my own code, but some people just like it like this. Okay, so if the player does have permission, we are going to, let's just copy this so I don't have to retype it. Okay, so if the list contains the player's name, it is going to remove the player's name. And if the list does not contain the player's name, it's going to add the player's name. Okay. So now that we've checked that, we got this one. But this is just automatically going to do that. It's not going to check the permission first. So we got to add the if statement. So if player dot has permission, and we'll just go test dot freeze dot other. And then we've got to scroll down, and I'll put it right there. And then I'm just gonna tab all this out, make it look a bit neater. And there we go. Okay, so that's pretty much how you can use permissions if you don't feel like putting them here. Now I think I've shown you. Yep. Okay. So for here you can also go like this. So, oh, can't use a tab. 2, 3, 4. Test dot, then I use freeze. So by default, everyone's gonna have that, and there are no children for that one. And then we can add the test.other. So test.freeze.other. And by default, only ops will have that. And because I just find it kind of a rule of thumb, if people can use command on others, why not be able to use it on themselves? So I'm going to add it so they can use that on themselves. Okay. And then to make sure that this has it as well, just so test dot then the little star, can't quite remember exactly what it's called, but it's also going to give the permission for test.freeze.other, which will give you test.freeze. Okay, so let's export this. Okay, and just give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm back and I've opened up 2 Minecrafts here. Oh, I guess I should start the server first. Let's close that up. Start the server. Okay, so I started up 2 Minecrafts during that little pause. As you guys will just seem like a fade in, fade out, if I remember to put that effect in. Okay, so let's join the server. Oh. And this is just my friend's account, so I can use localhost. And as you can see, we still have the message of the day. So now let's log in as me. I'm going to have to choose me. And we'll just join this. Okay. Not entirely sure where he is. Apparently they're close. Probably right below. Oh yeah, right below. Yeah, I guess my new skin's not too bad. Okay, so now we're going to... Now remember, this guy's not off. So he can freeze himself. But when he goes to freeze me, nothing will happen. And in order to... Hang on, why didn't you actually send him the message? Just notice that right now. I probably put in the wrong spot. No, yep, I completely forgot about it. Like I said, the player doesn't have permission. It's going to send them that message. Let's add all that. Reload. Open them both back up. And invalid permission. Okay, and now this guy, freeze. He can freeze himself. And he can freeze him. Okay, so now let's unfreeze him. Okay. So, I don't recommend giving permission to freeze yourself, because I just kind of thought of this now. So this guy just froze Brendan. So, as you can see, he's frozen. But then he can just go like this, and unfreeze himself. So, don't give permission to freeze yourself, unless you're off. Or, unless you're given permission to do it, in general. Okay, so that's about it for that permission thing. It can work with pretty much any other setup. You can change these to whatever you want. Just always make sure to include if they do not have permission. So then it's not just kind of like okay, why didn't it work? Like what just happened not too long ago. Okay, so that's about it for this episode. See you next time.